Hey everybody, welcome back to IP Farms. Well, we're in a different place today. Back on a combine that needs some attention. Glenda, the A2 Gleaner. You saw the grain head leave out of the shop. That's a whole nother story. No, it did not get rebuilt. Not going to get rebuilt anytime soon. I am way behind. I just don't understand why I do this to myself. But anyway, that's another story. I've got to get something figured out. The wheat is going to be ready here in the next couple of weeks, and I don't have a working combine. So let me turn you around here, try to explain a few things. Going to be some repetitive on some past videos, but that's where all this stuff was left off. And fingers crossed I can make something work, because I'm running out of options quick. Well, it looks about the same as it did last time we were on this project where we left off. The carburetor's down the shop. I never did put the kit in it. We've got to do that. I did not get the manifold off. I'm not even going to attempt that right now. It'll just have to leak. We'll carry fire extinguishers for sure. The starter, I did not pull that off. I'm going to redo some of these connections down here just to see if that has anything to do with the way it's not wanting to turn over very easily. I'm going to go ahead and do the tune-up on it. I've got the parts on the way, the distributor cap, points, rotor button, plugs, wires. Put all that on it, put the kit in the carburetor, and see if that makes any difference. If it's still turning over doing the same thing, then I'm going to try to get that starter rebuilt locally, and see where we are from there. So keep your fingers crossed that we can get the old gal going, because if so, then I'm down to these two options, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Watch this, guys. My fuel pump on. I just got a remote starter back here. I can't believe that. I am so lucky. So I put the carburetor back together, put the kit in it. Wasn't exactly right. There's a few pieces that didn't work. Cleaned it out real good, which I didn't find anything definitive. Hooked my wires up, turned the fuel pump on just to make sure that the bowl wasn't gonna overflow, the needle and seat was gonna cut off, and hooked my remote starter up, and it didn't spin over half around and fired up and idled just like it did the day I went and bought it. Wow, I can't get over that. I think I know what might have been going on. I don't see how it was keeping it from running, but I know it had a lot of issues as far as getting it started. So let me show you what I did. Well, there's one of the batteries that came out of the little road tractor, the Love Muffin. It's marked 423. I've been charging it on 2 amps for about 3 or 4 days, and I load tested it this afternoon. It held a good load test for 45 seconds, didn't drop. So I said, well, that'll be a good battery to put in Glenda. Came down here and got looking at the battery cables, and I can't show you right now, I'm not down there, but just corroded, not very big. So I had these extra cables left over from that rewire on the truck. That one is huge. I don't know, 2-aught maybe, 3-aught, I can't remember, but it's huge. So I came up here, and the solenoid here, this wire was going over to a breaker that was broken, and yada yada. Took all this apart, cleaned it up, put it back together, and I mean, it spins over like a brand new one. So I'll try to throw a card up here right now in the video where I showed you what it was doing on a previous video when it was spinning over and wanting to kick back, and that was the only time it was wanting to fire. So I don't know. I mean, I did have one person tell me that I think it was Logan at Back Farms, that the starter, he had some kind of issue, I think, on one of his with that, and he did something with the starter and the problem went away. So the only thing that's been changed is the carburetor's been taken apart. I found nothing in any of the jets, no trash in it, no anything really. There's a little bit of trash in the bottom of the bowl, but nothing was stopped up, plugged up, and all I changed really was the needle and seat. Actually just the seat. the new needle was sticking in that seat, so I put the old one in it. And that's it, guys. Yay me. Well, sorry about the close-up camera angle, but I am just completely blown away that the old girl fired up that easy. I'm just tickled to death, honestly. So I think I'm gonna leave it alone for right now. I'm gonna test it over the next couple days, come down here when it's completely cold, start it, you know, make sure everything's gonna go. If everything continues to work out, we're gonna put the fuel tank back on it like it's supposed to be. Lord knows I need it because it sucks the fuel. And then I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. The situations that I was telling you about earlier in the video, I cannot get anybody to come custom harvest my wheat. I'm not near anybody, you know, I don't have enough acres really. I'm just not in that type farming area. Dylan said he would come do it. He has two options, has a 72 all crop that's ready to go, pull behind combine, but that thing is almost 11 feet wide. I really don't want to haul it that far from down at his place. His K2 needs a few odds and ends, nothing major. But again, that's, you know, trip down, trip back, time frame, yada yada, whatever. So what I'm leaning towards now are two real good possibilities. One, I borrow his head. He's got a 13-foot grain head that will work on Glenda, or I take the head that I've got that's been cut down from 13 to 10, put some boards back on it, oil everything up, change the pitman arm, and roll with it. I've been doing some reading and talked to a really good friend of mine, and all my wheat is standing. Hopefully if I can get out there, I mean, none of them's on the ground, so I really don't have to have the teeth. I could really get by with just the boards this time, just lower the reel down closer to the cutter, and I may do that. We'll just wait and see. So this is a huge step in the right direction for Glenda to be fired up on her own. I don't have to wait on parts or worried about that, so got to get it out of the building the next day or so and get it hooked to one of those heads and see what we come up with. So keep your fingers crossed, guys, and I'll bring you back the next time we get something going here with Glenda, and I hope that it's easy cranking and out the door. I'm not sure at this point what I've told you guys and what I haven't, since I filmed this over several days, but this is the cut down head, and we're basically going to have to rearrange some sprockets and pulleys and stuff here to make it work with my A2, which I knew I was going to have to do that anyway. And I got over here, I'll show you in a minute, a drive system that came with the plate that I got from the guy, and I think that would work. I don't really know how it mounts up, but bottom line, everything is locked up, and I should have had that stored in a barrel of oil, but I didn't. So I'm not going to go through all that hassle. I think this will be pretty simple. I'm thinking I can move this over, reposition it, bolt that'll be the shaft. It won't be over too far, and then I can run both of my sprockets right here off of there, and I don't think it'll be too much stress on it. We're going to try that. That's the easiest way, easiest scenario. This all came loose pretty much easily. I don't know how the one in the back, because all this had been taken apart and changed. These are new bearings and stuff where they cut it down. So I don't know, guys, I may end up just using this head from here on out. I mean, change the front reel and maybe the auger at some point, but saved me a whole lot of floor work. I can't even remember now why I decided I wasn't going to use this one, but maybe because it had been cut down. But anyway, let's get to work. Well, here's what we ended up with so far. I got both sprockets on here. I got this one off the other header, thank goodness it came off. So we flipped them around a little bit. The unfortunate part, this one does not have a keyway in it, so I have a couple options. I can drill further in, put a longer set screw. I can weld it, I can tack weld it, I can drill all the way through it. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to my machinist buddy and see what he thinks about it. I do have this whole other shaft on the other header, so I think at some point I'll get it pulled off once I know exactly where these need to be, and we can measure, and then I'll have somebody cut a keyway and I'll get a new sprocket and put on that other shaft to have as a spare in case this one ever goes bad. So what we're gonna do now is try to get this brace up there. I'm probably gonna have to do some kind of additional metal up there for the top. This brace is longer, but this one is shorter, so I need to get this situated where my bearing is going to be, not in the way of my sprocket. And then once we do that, then I think we're pretty much done back here until I get it on Glenda and see how the chains are going to line up with the drives. So stay tuned. I got that bearing knocked over a little more. That gives me about probably 2 inches of play that way and 2 inches that way, so that should work. This one is good on the keyway for quite a ways. I think it needs to be almost where it was, honestly. Yeah, probably pretty close to where it was. So now I got to figure out something about this. The brace, it's not gonna reach, I don't think. But I've got this one loose. Let me get it back up now that we've got the sprockets on, see what I can come up with. Well, I finally got some help today. A friend of mine I work with decided he'd come help me for a little while today. And it's much appreciated, because dealing with these teeth bars here gets pretty aggravating. But what we're doing is I'm bolting all this back on, and we talked about in the very beginning of this video, we're not going to run teeth. I know, we're going to try it. I'm going to put 1x6, 1x8, 1 by something boards on here. Every bit of my wheat's standing. I don't have to worry about picking anything up. That'll get us by right now because of the teeth situation. And then eventually we'll get boards cut. Luke at Roots Farms actually has some for me. And I'll rebuild the header like I originally planned and put new boards across it and new plastic teeth. But we're just trying to get by for right now. So while I got the help, I wanted to get him to help me get all these bolted on. We're putting used bushings back in it because they're very expensive. It's about 15, 18 bucks per attachment point, and then this one's got an extra attachment point because it's the head that's been cut down. So it is what it is at this point. But we'll get all this together, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes once we get them bolted up and go from there. I'm hoping to get back on the drive system, maybe get hooked to Glenda today, so stay tuned. I think we're just gonna wrap this one up. We got all the bars on it. I've got to get the wood boards. Still got to get the drive system situated in the back. I'll show you that right quick. And now we've got issues with a variable speed swap out. That didn't work out at all like I wanted it to. But down here, the sprocket situation is going to go great. Just got to drill the holes, get all that bolted back up, get some chain ran. Over here, I'm not sure if that variable speed is going to work. I'm not even going to chance it. As behind as I am, so we're going to do away with it. I plan on putting my single pulley, you know, the low speed and high speed for the older reels. But the shaft is different up there, so I'm going to utilize some chain and sprockets over here and do away with all that. I know it's not going to be perfect. The speed is not going to be variable at all. But it is what it is this year. I'm just needing to get that wheat cut. Made a lot of mistakes this year, learned from them. Some things I won't make next year, I can assure you of that. But we'll see what we can do. So stay tuned for part 2 of this. Hopefully we'll get everything buttoned up, get it hooked back to Glenda, and then after that, hopefully we'll have a wheat harvest video. Got a lot coming down the ladder if I can scramble together enough time. So don't forget to check out farmmerchbin.com if you're interested in any of my stuff or any other merchandise. They're great channels they do. Or if you're needing something done yourself, just hit them up. Nikki and Allison at farmmerchbin.com. Super nice people. We'll see what happens over the next couple days, guys. I really appreciate everything. Until then, thank you.